more grooves than a vinyl record. Demonic possession. Christmas tree bit, 'tis the season. The holly of Amazon. Don't use it on the Teflon. Chinese torture device. Power Tour Summit koozies. Handy as a pocket on a shirt. Turned down for what? That's the only thing that's gonna separate me between me and my neighbors as we articulate and matriculate down the track. And in a world of impatience, which is the one I live in. Yep, Timu. Hey-o. 87 octane parts washer. The old boat from China. Lions, tigers, bears. You get to do it twice. I think Wallard is the word. 60% of the time, that'll get you every time. Jam down in the end of it. There we go. Did I get you? She plumb filled up. That's what they say. And if they say it, you should probably do it.
I think we created a monster.
No, lift with the knees, not the back. Lift with something. Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Fixin Rusty YouTube channel. We are back today on our 1988 Chevrolet S10, our 6-liter LQ9 LS swap, all that LSX stuff. Anyways, last time, if you watched, if you didn't, go check those videos out. But we got to the point, we got this thing in the truck, we got it started, first couple startups, and that's kind of where we left it. Now, what's next on the list is we've got to get all the little stuff tied up and a few major things so we can get this thing ready for first drive and actually get this thing to where it's running and driving, and I can maybe move it around and, you know, get it out of my way when I need to. We've got a lot of little stuff to do, kind of walk around and show you. Throttle linkage, we got nothing on here. So we got to sort all this mess out. Throttle cables got to get done. We got fluids, you know, stuff to still top off to do. I got to, you know, seal this guy up, put that back on there for our coolant system, as you can tell. Brakes are a mess. Yeah, we got something special coming for you here on the brakes. It's gonna need full brakes. These rotors, they got more grooves than a vinyl record. They're pretty bad and squeaky. So they're rough. We're gonna need calipers, pads, rotors, the rears, I'll show you. Grab our drum here from our bed of doom. They're not great. Big old grooves in them, but the good news is we saved some money on that because I bought an 8.8 rear end for an Explorer for this thing that we're going to do in a future episode. And hell, it didn't cost me much more than what it would have cost to redo all the brakes and rear brake hose and drums. And I mean, it's shot. I'll show you when maybe we get the wheels off this thing, but the pads are smoked. Everything's junk on it. This isn't even one of them I can brake clean and make it work deals. They're done. Oh, the horn. The horn's kind of got a little bit of demonic possession. I came home, what was that, a couple days ago, and I heard a noise. It was kind of a faint humming. I thought it was my neighbor's air conditioning unit, and then I realized that almost sounds like a car horn, or maybe an S10 horn. So I walked towards the shop. As I got closer, it started getting louder and louder and louder, and I realized, okay, well, that's lucky that didn't start a fire or something. The horn just was blaring in this thing, and I don't know for how long. So something's goofy there. So we got to figure that out. What else? Oh, I've got another conglomeration here I'll show you. We got an exhaust system to do also, so this is going to be a battle. I've got, I don't know, I figured 4 feet of pipe and some bends. That ought to be good enough to put a whole exhaust system on this thing, right? So. Oh, and we got some Neighbor Hater 9000 mufflers. Let me take you over here and show you what we got there. So, here we go. Yep, that ought to make an exhaust system my HOA will be proud of. No, just kidding, I don't have an HOA. They'd have kicked me out of here long ago. They'd never let this S10 off the trailer if I'd have tried. We got some front end parts and some stuff, kind of. You know, it doesn't need to be like put back together to take a first drive and to kind of do some stuff, but we need to at least figure out, you know, the dangling wire situation. So we probably got to do something there. Oh, and we've got some tires that, I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a little imperfection there. And, you know, just general imperfections overall. 3905, so. Yeah, 20 years they'll do that. So needless to say, tires are junk, and we have something special going on there. I don't want to quite give it all away just yet because we haven't got it all sorted out. And we're changing the rear end, so that's going to be kind of a down the road deal. Not that far down the road, but just down the road deal. Anyways, welcome back. I appreciate it. Go like and subscribe and do all that stuff if you haven't done it already, or if you've been watching these S10 videos and you like them. I've been blown away by how many people have been watching these things. So as long as you guys keep watching, keep subscribing, I guess I'll keep doing this stuff. So anyways, enough talking for me. Let's get set up and let's get back to work on this S10. I think we'll get started under the hood today. I've got a new stainless steel throttle cable, fancy one, right? So, you know, kind of one of your universal deals. And a little clip here that fits the GM pedal, a little eyelet that the hole's probably going to be too small on. I'll probably have to drill that out into this clevis, and some clips and some stuff, and then we'll have to lop the end off here at some point, cut the cable, make that fit. Return bracket, I didn't get one of those things with I guess the other throttle return bracket thing. So I had to order one from China, and you know, you can't get just one, you get 4 for basically the price of like 1, so, you know, because China. So we'll put that on. I think these are leftover brackets from what we got on there. I got a little bracket for our what is that thing? I guess the kickdown cable on the Turbo 350. If we even leave it on, the one I got, it's kind of janky. We may even take it off. I don't know. I'd probably like to leave it on, I guess. You're supposed to do, I think. Rollover valve. Not that I plan on rolling over, but, you know, I figured I got to put something on that vent to keep the fuel from sloshing out everywhere and kind of give it a, you know, somewhere so the dirt daubers don't build a nest in it. So we'll do that too. And I would have just done a little push lock fitting here, but the, you're not gonna believe this one, or you will believe this one. The push lock fitting was like $10.99 for a 180 like that. And I bought a whole freaking kit of this stuff somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, a whole freaking kit was like $17 on Amazon for, not these red fittings, but all the other black fittings in here. This all came, these clamps, all came in the kit for like 17 bucks. So yeah, why not? So now we're pretty set up for, you know, whatever on the next project. We can, you know, rig up a AN fuel system on the next pile of junk we bring home. But let's see. Yeah, this should go smoothly, I hope. I've done these before, not the Chinese one, but I've done these before. And so hopefully we have same success here, and we get this deal rigged up, and then we can move on to the next. Here's our, I guess our throttle cable bracket, kickdown bracket that I got off Scamazon also. I'll link this guy in the description as usual, along with all that other stuff I bought. But this looks like a pretty nice piece actually for, I think, $17. I know you can buy some expensive ones of these. And it came with a bunch of these little widgets here. We'll see how well they actually fit this stuff. Well, I got our cable measured out here on the bracket, so I think we're in the right spot. So I got my cable lopper offer here, and this is giving me some major PTSD for making those AN lines. Anyways, let's see if we can do this. Still got all my fingers, it's a good start. Okay, that's roughly in place now. So we've got a giant fender washer here. I just happen to have one that's perfect size. I have no idea where to get it or what it came off of. So you're on your own on that one. Cut our cable back. Got a little adjustment we can do right here, obviously. So we need to get the pedal side connected so that we can sort out the length on this guy. All right, I finally think I got this linkage installed here. Got it tightened down with the fender washers here on the firewall. Jammed all in here, tightened up. The clip on here isn't the tightest, and I wasn't super happy with it, so I used a hose clamp on it. It's tight now, so it's in place. So managed to lose the Allen screw, set screw out of it somehow. It fell out and it's gone forever. So fished around, found another, I don't know, it's off a ceiling fan or something, but it ought to work. It holds the cable tight. I got a throttle return spring, finally found a place that'll work and not hit and bind up, so we're good on all that now. We got clearance. This kind of ratty TV cable, I guess not a TV on this, I guess it's just a kickdown cable. Hell, I don't know, whatever you call it. It doesn't really, this groove doesn't fit this bracket very good, so, and I'm still kind of on the fence if I even want to run one of these things or not. You guys let me know if there's a reason to run one or not run one in an application like this. I don't even know if I take it out, if there's something I need to put over the hole. I'm assuming it goes down to a valve in the shuttle in the valve body, so something's gonna have to go in that hole if I take it out. So I haven't looked into it that far yet, but I will. But yeah, that's TBD. So we're just gonna kind of, you know, hide that back here for now. We'll do a little better job than that. And then I got this breather tube, gotta, you know, permanently install that guy. And I don't know, I guess we'll just keep moving on down the line. That took entirely too long, but there was some fitment issues to say the least with these parts. So, but I think I got it all dialed in now. Well, I've got our NHRA approved, maybe, fuel vent setting setup hose thing here. Kind of test fit. So this is what I came up with. This is our rollover valve and 180-degree fitting and some hose. Should work. I went ahead and eyeballed a hole here and drilled a pilot hole, and I found this grommet, and this fits perfect over this hose. So the goal is to drill a hole here with the old Christmas tree bit, 'tis the season, and put this guy in there, run that hose through it, vent it a few inches below the bed floor, and I think that meets all the requirements. Guess we'll find out. I don't know, nothing left to do, I guess, but drill some more holes in a perfectly good bed floor. Here we go. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're still too far away. Close. Let's see. Can't find a better man. Maybe. Maybe we should go one more. No going back. Committed. I think that might do it. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. Sounds like me three-putting. Three-putting. I wish I could three-putt. I'm out there getting snowman every time I golf. Y'all that don't golf, that basically means you suck so bad that you just write down an 8 on every hole. That's a snowman. And I don't golf either, but I have a time or two. I've also stayed at a Holiday Inn Express before, which is not really helping me when it comes to this stuff. Okay, maybe that'll let our grommet here kind of splay out a little bit and not be so tight on the hose. You know, give her some, there we go. Yeah, give her some room to breathe, you know. Oh yeah. That's straight out of the rule book, I think. Maybe, probably not. It's close enough. All right, and let me crawl underneath this thing, mark our hole or mark our hose, and then lop that guy off. Okay, so this is kind of what I came up with here. And we've got this looped in and grommeted. Now I was gonna cut it off just a few inches below the floor, but I got to looking and it's a little closer to the tire than I thought it was gonna be. So let me go underneath here and I'll show you kind of what I'm thinking anyways. All right, everybody here? Everybody with me? You guys see that? Okay. Well, there's our fuel line and there's our tar. So, you know, probably not the worst thing in the world, but I figure, well, I'll just loop it here, carry it on back here, and I'll put some kind of clamp on it here to kind of give this more of a, you know, more of a 90. We'll figure something out for that. Well, when it comes to our air cleaner, I think we settled on the Edelbrock. I agree. I think it looks the best, fits the best. Not to mention, I think I got a range of comments on the ProFlow, the you know, triangular shape when I asked that question on the last video. Comments range from it'll burn your truck to the ground, the foam will catch on fire and drip down your intake, throw that thing in the trash. There might have been others. Put it on your pressure washer. No, I think that was what I commented a couple times. But yeah, I agree. I didn't really like the way it looked either, but it fits a lot better. And what I mean by that, and I'll show you, is since we went with the AN all the way to the carbon trader here, I had to get one of these little, you know, adapter fitting things and run a 90-degree here. Well, since this comes out a little bit further, it just nicks the inside of the base on this corner. Not bad, but enough that it's not sitting flush on this. So here's what I came up with. I think I've got 4 gaskets here taped together, and that is created about right at the right amount of space we need. I could probably come up with a 5th and make it perfect, but that will work. So there's that. Yeah. I did have one more contender in the running, but I didn't show you, and here's why. This one would have worked too. It's a nice shiny Blueprint air cleaner, but it is not a drop base, as you can probably see there. Very much not a drop base. Clear's perfect. You know, would have been a great fit for, you know, pretty much anything else with a normal height hood, but with this S10, with how tight it is getting this thing in here already, you can see that at the front on that air cleaner, it's sticking up there pretty good, and even higher than the alternator by quite a bit, which was the problem before. So I don't think there's any way we'd get that thing to fit under the hood. So I'll save it for another project. We'll find a home for it, and we will stick with the Edelbrock and run that guy. I mean, we got the Edelbrock carburetor that I think a few people didn't like either, which it's temporary, guys. It's temporary. Next up, I got an oil catch can to put in. I'll show you this guy. This is a fun one. This came in some custom Amazon packaging. Here's what you get. It's one of these evil guy catch cans. I don't know. I mean, this is basically like the Holly of Amazon. It says right there on it, oil catch can. It's got a cute little dipstick right here that you know, tells you if you got too much blow by, I guess. Comes with a nice scouring pad to put in it to, I guess, filter out the oil, so that's cool. My grandma had those under the kitchen sink. I don't know what kind of hose this is, but it's hose. A bunch of fittings here. Ooh, aluminum, lightweight racing stuff. Maybe an extra O-ring, custom bracket. And we'll start with step 1. Move away the engine cover. Check. Step 2, take the pipe away and put it aside. That's what it says. Check. Step 3, wrap the thread seal tape on the thread part of screws. Okay, we're already on step 3 out of 8, so this should go pretty quick. I don't know about you, but that looks like a straight thread with an O-ring seal to me. So I don't really know why you'd wrap that in thread tape. Also, it's not like this is actually under like any kind of serious pressure or anything, so we're not going to do that. Step 5, use your own nuts and bolts to hold the bracket to the unit. Okay, I didn't write this. So that's okay, we'll get to that. Step 5, wait, we just did step 5. That was using your own nuts. Step 6, install the oil catch can in the place you choose. Okay, we're going to do that. Step 7. Take a new hose, and don't use a used one, and cut a suitable length you think. I think this might not be long enough, but I think I have a whole roll of this in the cabinet too. So, step 8, put clamps on the 2 ends of the pipe and hose. Probably not gonna do that, but we might. Your grandma's scouring pad here. I guess you just jam it in here like maybe to keep the oil from sloshing around. That's my best guess. Don't use it on the Teflon. I can hear my grandma now. So we'll just stick that in there and call it good, maybe. Change of plans. I went and drilled 2 new holes. Just drilled one a little bit lower to where I could get access to it, and then just moved another one down, you know, to keep them spaced out. And self-tappers, it's the way. Oh, she's walking. There she goes. How's that? Is that straight? You guys let me know. I'm gonna hear about it if it's not. Ow! Yep, gone forever. It'll turn up. Probably somewhere down the interstate. Did it stay straight? Yeah, more or less. Maybe less. With Meemaw's old scouring pad jammed in. Some kind of Chinese torture device. Golly, called every dog in the neighborhood with that one. Okay, check, I think that's done. Well, we've got the S10 up on the lift here, so I guess it's time. I've been putting it off, but I guess it's time to see if we can cobble together some kind of exhaust system on this thing. This will be the first time I've done one like this. I'm not afraid to weld. I mean, I've got a welder, I've done plenty of welding. But piecing one of these kits together and making it all fit, and I don't know, I don't have a bender, and all I got is a cut-off wheel. We're just gonna have to do the best we can with what we've got, see if we can make, you know, some kind of exhaust system come together on this deal. But I don't know, we put it off long enough, so I guess it's time to jump in it. And we've already got it up on the lift, air quotes, lift, so it'll be easy to do the brakes too while we're at it. Welcome to the bottom side of the S10. I think our best course of action is to start here on the passenger side, because this one, no matter what, is going to need to be a straight shot here, straight back. Our guy here on the other side is kind of lower, points more at the ground, and I'm gonna have to do some work on that side to figure it out. Our cross member, as you may recall, only has one dip from the factory. We don't have anything over here. Now I could try to run something over it and through it, and that would probably work. I'd rather not get it that close to the bottom of the floorboard on this side though, you know, for obvious reasons, me and no carpet and heat, you know. If I get some Yosemite Sam floor mats, I don't want to melt them. So I think we're gonna base that side off whatever this side does. The idea being maybe I can drop that guy down and over and then along with that one and run both down this side and dump them kind of down at the ground, or maybe a little bit of an angle out with the mufflers back here at the back with turn downs. But first step I see is floor is very tight on this pipe. Get a gander in there, but it's close, right? So we're gonna need to get a little bit of clearance here to get that pipe on there. So, you know, I got the old 2-pound floor adjuster, and maybe it's 3 pounds, but anyways, it's a floor adjuster, and we'll get that in here and do a little clearancing and see how that kind of goes. And we may need to adjust the length on this deal. I get they make these long because you got an O2 bung in here, but we don't need an O2 bung where we're going. So if I have to, I can maybe get up here and chop this guy up on top of the bung, shorten this down if I need to, depending on how it looks. So, and that may be the route we have to take on the other side. Oh yeah. I mean, how much clearance do you need? Did we do enough in the right place? Fits preliminarily. It needs a little more down here on the bottom though. Let me go ahead and give this a couple more whacks here on the bottom. You know, just round it out nicely. Now when you're doing this, you want to make sure you keep a nice even pattern. She looks better from the inside, you know. We got good clearance now. Here's the gist of what I'm looking for, what we're going for on the exhaust, at least on this passenger side. It's kind of a, you know, a spirited candy cane Christmas version. Now, actually what we're gonna do is off that 45, come straight down through here. Picture this as vertical, not, I just gotta lay it on the floor, you know. And then we'll come and somewhere in here, cut that guy off and make that a turn down, do the same over here on the other side. But we got to figure out how to get the left side over to the right side. So this is the start. I think we can get this side somewhat made up under there, and then we'll match the other side to it. Okay, good enough to hold right there. All right. Let's clean them up, see what they look like. All right, we got our first 2 welds done. Don't look too bad. I ain't afraid to show them to you. There you go. Not too bad. Got a little hairy up here where that bung was kind of in the way and I couldn't get in there as good, but not bad. And again, I'm not a professional welder, but okay, let's see if we can get the rest of it in. Well, in my calculations, I have established that the left side, no matter what, has to go up. So this collector sits low, or yes, it's lower than the other side and the right side. So we're gonna have to shorten this guy up and then shorten any pipes we use up as high as we can to try to get that up. No matter if we go over the cross member on the left side and just have 2 straight back on opposite sides, or if we try to cross it over underneath and wrap it around beside the other one. Either way, it's got to come up significantly. So I'm gonna bring out the chop saw and start lopping. Fresh blade, stainless steel. What could go wrong? Didn't mark anything. Here we go. Okay. And how much angle do I need to take out? I don't know. Figure it out as we go, I guess. Lop a section out in the middle. Hot. Come on now. I don't know if that quite got enough, but we'll see. It did something. Let me see if we can take a little stress relief out here. Let me crawl under there and see if this is gonna work. Yep, pardon the lights being off, but tripped another breaker. AC's kicking back on, compressor hasn't kicked on yet, and if I turn the big lights on before the AC compressor kicks on, it throws the whole thing off again. So you gotta give it a few minutes. Lenovo probably doesn't recommend doing that to their laptops. Oopsie. This is not only my workbench and my grinding station and my welding station, but it is also where I typically edit my videos. And so, probably not ideal. Let's move that up there. It's the parts ordering counter, it's where I do the bookkeeping, it's where I do all the social media, it's where I do the editing, it's where I do the grinding, it's where I do the welding. It's pretty much everything. Good morning, another day here with the S10 trying to wrap up the exhaust. Last night I had my neighbor and my buddy come over and help me tighten up this collector here on this side. As you can see, it's very tight. Now I got that pipe on the right side tightened up so we can judge where the left side needs to go in terms of crossing over and routing around it beside it. So we've got a foundation to work with now so we can finish that up. Oh, that reminds me, I do need to go to O'Reilly today and pick up some extension pieces for the back. For now, I can work on finishing that crossover pipe that you saw me hacking on yesterday and get that in there. That's the plan. I had the rest of my brake parts show up late last night from UPS. As usual, they always show up well after dark, but they're here. So we'll try to work on that today, maybe if I get through all the exhaust stuff. That's the plan, and we're just gonna keep chipping away at the list, so let's get at it, I guess. Okay, this is the preliminary exhaust system. As you can see, I've got my expert exhaust hanger thing set up on here. These two are gonna run parallel, obviously. There's supposed to be a little bit of a gap here, kind of tapers out at the end, so that the mufflers and turn downs here don't hit each other. I think that's gonna clear okay. And we'll kind of migrate our way up here to the front. There you go. Got a couple of, leftover power tool Summit koozies working as a spacer here to keep it off the frame rail while I tacked all this stuff. But we got our hacked up pipe tacked in place. We got a couple other pipes jammed in here. And this little crossover here snakes its way around, and there you go, back up to the collector. End up having to cut that off really short so we can get that pipe up there tight, so we can get this thing up as tight as we can to to the pan and above the ground. So I think that's gonna be just fine. And as you can see, it's you know, very tight there to the pan, but it does clear. And you know, everything is tight in these when you go jamming a V8 in one of these. So it is what it is. And back here, we're gonna lop the end off of this, match these up. And I got 18-inch extensions that will go from here with the muffler, turn down and terminate somewhere in this ballpark. And then we'll run our hangers now off of this this cross member kind of down. You know what? We might even be able to use the holes. Wouldn't that be slick? There's 2 clips there. Might even be able to use those. That would be handy as a pocket on a shirt. We'll see though. One other thing I did get done, our turn downs. Turned down for what? No. Turned out pretty good. No pun intended. Kind of look tractor-y, but I'll take it. It's fine. That's the only thing that's going to separate me between me and my neighbors. Good luck. Figured in the meantime, while I'm waiting on those extensions to show up, work on the drive shaft loop. And we've got a pretty nice, you know, flat area in the floor here, and I think that'll work good. You know, right there and right there. The only drawback is we've got this little dimple right here, which our bracket will need to be trimmed accordingly. As you can see, this needs to go somewhere around there. So I think what I can do is cut that off right after that first set of holes, so this will fit nice and flush up there to the floor. Over on this side, that'll sit nice and tight there on the floor in a good spot, and that'll work out really good. So one other modification I'm going to make is they only came with enough bolts to put 2 bolts per side on these straps for some reason. They really need 4 in my opinion. And I don't know why they're all down on one end. Why wouldn't you put 2 like up here in the front to strengthen the whole plate? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drill a couple extra holes up here, put a couple extra bolts in there through the floor with some big flat washers. And I'll lop off the end of that one piece on the other side, and I think that'll work. That should work out actually really nice. So let's go ahead and knock this guy out while we are waiting for our exhaust components to show up. Lopped off, okay. And the spacing on this is very important, so that's why I'm just gonna eyeball it. Okay, pilot holes. Yeah, Christmas tree bit might make it through there. 'Tis the season. Yep, 'tis the season to be merry. And that's my name, no shit. All right. Okay, maybe. Perfect. Oh, bad company, I can't deny. Bad, bad company till the day I die. It's a little off-centered. Oh well, what you gonna do? It's not gonna hit the drive shaft, so I guess that's really all we're worried about. The goal is to keep the drive shaft in the truck, so this ought to do it. A lot of holes in this floor now. Come on, baby. Tighten up, tighten up, tighten up. Come on. Give me something. Something. Yeah, that'll work. Why not? Yeah, as we articulate and matriculate down the track, that should be plenty clear. Let's see. Yeah, I think that'll work. Y'all see that? Yeah. I think that's how this goes. Y'all tell me if it's not. Some of you guys that drag race and do this stuff. Yeah, that'll clear. I mean, the only way it's gonna hit the drive shaft loop is if it, you know, comes out. And that's what you want, so. Ah, got it. Got it! Can we get the front one now? Yep, there it is. Okay. Now that that's done, on to the more important things. More important question. Which version of Bad Company is better, Paul Rogers or Five Finger Death Punch? I don't know. Nostalgia tells me Paul Rogers, but I kind of dig that Five Finger Death Punch version. Yeah, this is gonna work. Now we'll tighten our floor bolts back up. I wonder if I wildly swing this ratchet like a madman, if anything will happen. No. But What if I pull down on it and swing wildly? Maybe a little. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna fumble with this for a little while, and I'll be back when we get this a little closer to being done. You may recall we did have to do some minor adjustments on the floor for the exhaust system. So it's time to, you know, go ahead and fix this back up, get this rebuilt. I might have got a little aggressive with the size of the clearance we needed, but that's okay. Clean it on out. And once again, the old race car flooring, the 2X. I recently discovered you can actually get this stuff on Amazon too for quite a bit less than Home Depot. I think this particular color, the semi-gloss that I usually use, and I'll tell you why I use it. Well, I'm going to tell you why anyways, whether you want to or want to hear this or not, but it's because it dries faster. They call it Canyon Black as their flat black. It takes a lot longer to dry. So I kind of maybe like that look a little better, but this dries faster. So, and in the world of impatience, which is the one I live in, this is to my benefit. Okay, one light coat, let it tack up, let it sit, give it a few minutes, then come back. Okay, there we go. And that almost looks factory. I don't know, you know, if you guys really notice it, but to me it just, I mean, pretty much looks factory. It kind of blends right in there. Well, O'Reilly just came. We got our last 2 pipes I need. Lunch is done. My microwave TV dinner chicken parmesan is done. So here's our new pipes. These are going to be our extension pieces. We'll actually, like that, throw that guy on there, and then turn down over here, something along those lines. I got to get underneath there and go ahead and line these 2 up and cut that one off, and we'll kind of gauge where these need to be so we can try to line this up. I want to line up the hanger to where it's somewhere in this, you know, vicinity, probably on the pipe right in here. I think that'll be about right. So that's the goal, is to get that length set for that. So I'm gonna crawl back under here, start measuring, and see if I can get this set up. Let's go ahead and get these turn downs welded on. Might as well while we're at it. Let's see if we trip any breakers here. Probably. Nope. Hey, learned something new today. I can run the AC and the welder at the same time. Did you know if you put a magnet on something and you try to weld and you end up welding like right on the back of that magnet, that magnetic force, it won't weld. It'll spit that weld right out. Fun fact. Ask me how I know. Left in Santa Monica, you left me to remain, all the excuses for everything. She's in. All right, one more to go. One step closer. We got this intermediate pipe and both of our turn downs done, and I did find some cast iron gray, so that's what we did there. We touched those up with a little cast coat, you know. Here's the other pipe. This is the driver's side one, and a conglomeration of whatever this was that I came up with. This is a mandrel bend here. You guys hear people talk about that. Mandrel bend and crimp bend. This is a mandrel bend right here. So we just need to weld those up, and then we'll be good to go. think the monstrosity is complete. I even had a little bit of cast coat gray and threw on the welds, you know. I don't know why, just to waste my time mostly. It didn't turn out too bad. The welder kind of started heat cycling on me there. I had to stop and let it cool off, but it turned out okay. Not that concerned about it. It's not dirt daubered on there or anything. It'll hold. That's the hardest part. I think everything should fit good. All we have left to do is to get this pipe on the muffler and then that one on underneath, and then we should just have I think the one connection on there to weld up underneath the truck, so that should make it a little bit easier. I'd like to get this done today. This has taken me longer than I thought it was going to, probably because I chose to use 900 pieces to do this exhaust system, but hey, saved me a lot of money. I think I got $77 or something in this kit from Temu. The mufflers were about $25 a piece off Amazon. The clamps were, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. And I had to buy 2 extension pieces from O'Reilly, so that was like less than $30 for those. So I don't know, I got 150 bucks, 175 bucks in the whole exhaust system, give or take. Not too bad. So it's a hell of a lot cheaper than going to a muffler shop these days. Those guys are pricey now. I mean, the ones that do good work, they're worth it. It's kind of becoming a lost art, so kudos to them for getting it where they can, but you know, I'm trying to save a buck here. These little sheet metal tabs are just too flimsy to hang from the bottom. They were gonna bend, and just over time, that thing was gonna start sagging, so I went ahead and just welded it on the top. And dirt daubered it on here. Basically welding blind, upside down from behind with no hood. I put a strap here, some piece of strap I had off a sandblasting cabinet or something to cut that, and put that here and jammed a nut in between these two to give us a little bit of gap so they don't rub and don't rattle and make noise. So as of right now, the only thing holding this outer exhaust pipe is the strap tying it to the inner one. And it's pretty sturdy, as you can see. I mean, but that one side will vibrate more than this side. Plus this is a long run and it's heavier. And man, if something happens here, if this vibrates, if this weld comes apart, there's nothing else holding this. So I need to fashion another one of these guys over here to here, to here, if you can see that. So I think that will take care of that. I'm gonna do that tomorrow though. And just kind of the overview of it. I mean, it's just a couple pipes, no big deal, right? And some booger welds up here. Just trying to do what I could with it. Actually, it's not too bad really. And I see a hell of a lot worse out there, that's for sure. Yep, still got clearance on the transmission, but it's tight. And we're in there, so I just need to kind of go over everything, make sure those are tight. Ended up good over here on our frame. You know, big gap there, got a 1/2 inch plus gap there or more. So that's good. This is what it looks like looking backwards. And then she dumps there, obviously right in front of the rear end. Old double dumper. Tomorrow we'll come back and we will get that last clamp done, and then that should wrap this up. Welcome back, new day on the S10, LS swap, 60 LQ, whatever. This morning I wrapped up a couple things to get the bolts tight on the drive shaft loop. Turns out if you just hit them really fast with an impact and sort of wobble it around, it'll pull itself up tight. So I did that. Also tightened the fuel cell bolts, which I had forgotten to do. And I did the last clamp on the exhaust in the back. So let me crawl underneath here, see if my old bones can make it, and I'll show you what kind of the, I'm gonna call it the finished product looks like. At least it's a finished product for me. And there we go. We got 2 hangers now for the whole exhaust. And remember, we got that little flat strap on the bottom tying the two together so that the mufflers can't flex enough and vibrate and bounce off of each other, make a bunch of racket. So that is pretty sturdy. I mean, it seems sturdy to me. But anyways, exhaust is in, and it's time to move on to the brakes. Now when it comes to our brakes, we're only going to do the front brakes today. As I previously mentioned, we've got that Ford 8.8 out of an Explorer that we're going to swap for the rear end, and that's got disc brakes on it and everything. Those are good. So we'll do those at a later date. The rears on these are in rough shape, but they'll get us by for now for what we need to do. You only need front brakes to stop anyways, so. That's what we got. We've got new Raybestos rotors, calipers, new pads, Sunsong hoses. I've used these in the past. I've had no problems with these. I got a rear hose I don't think I'm actually going to need that since we're going to be using the one off of the Explorer, but I got it just in case. And we also will have to do some work here in this area. So I've got something a little bit different on that, and I will show you that here in a little bit. But for right now, let's jump on these brakes, get started, and get this thing done. Hey-o. Shots fired. Yep. Well, we weren't going anywhere. Looks like, ooh. I think they're done. Oh, there we go. What? Brake fluid? How's there any brake fluid left in this thing? I already checked, and this nut on the back side here is 1 1/16", which I don't have. I've got a 1 inch and 1 1/8 wrench, so I guess we'll have to get our old pal, the old can't find the right wrench, find the crescent wrench, and see if that works. I suppose I could take that little 10mm bolt loose from the frame, and it might make this a little easier. Actually, let's do that. Oh, wrong way. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus way. Oh, it's one of those sheet metal jobs. Yeah, okay. Let's just cut this and we'll put it in the vise and get that guy out of there. Yeah. There we go. Come on. Almost. Oh, these are smoked. And the calipers might have been fine on this, but you know how it goes. Might as well replace them. Let me get you in here. I'll show you the carnage we're dealing with. There you go. And you can see, hell, there's a shadow of the groove so big. And how uneven that thing is worn. It's pretty rough. Pretty rough. Down to the wear indicator. Seen better days. Have these for the scrap pile. I need to make a scrap run. Get my $30 or whatever. Come on now. Come on. Why am I shaking so bad? Ain't had nothing to drink in months. Why are you shaking? There we go. Okay. Huh. Come on. I think the last time we did this, I was in Oklahoma, right? Getting dark out there in the weeds, in the dirt at my grandpa's old shop on that 83 C10. Go watch that one too if you haven't seen it. That's a good one. That's a hell of a video. That video should have got a lot more views than it did. That one was a lot of work, getting that thing home. Spoiler alert. Yeah, it's not great, and not a lot of grease in there. That's definitely going to need to be cleaned and repacked. I think I forgot to get wheel seals again, so we'll probably reuse these. They look okay. Maybe. I'm gonna hit this with the wire brush a little bit, you know, rebuild on it just real quick while I'm in here. Might as well. Yep. I'm telling myself this is just dust and not whatever brake pads are made out of. All right, that looks pretty good. There we go. And let's get our brake rebuild kit. And we'll go ahead and go ahead and mask off our spindle here. Okay. That is masked. And as usual, multiple light coats. There we go. Get that control arm rebuilt while we're at it. Don't get the headers, not the headers. It's the shiniest thing on the truck. Oh, frame rail. There we go. Just let that paint absorb into that dirt. Oh, control arm. Let's go ahead and get that. Yeah, that looks way better. Get the spring, get the shock. Okay, tie rod in, get that replaced. Okay. We're a little TBD on some of the steering stuff. This may all get replaced, probably will. Steering isn't bad. I see a little bit of slop in the steering gearbox. I'm gonna see if I can tighten that up for now. We may come back one of these days and do one of them fancy like bump steer kits that these S10 guys do on the front of these things to make them, I don't know, you know, go fast. I don't know, probably not. Probably just put $4 tie rod ends on it from Rock Auto, but anyways, we can dream. All right, I think that's, you know, sufficient. Okay, go ahead and let that dry. Okay, that's dry. Spindle looks good, so we should be good to go here. All right, I'm gonna go get these bearings soaking, get them cleaned up, go ahead and get them repacked, and get our seals popped in, popped out, and get our rotors ready to go back on. All right, I've got our inner and outer bearings out of the 87 octane parts washer. So we'll go ahead and get these guys packed. Oh, what fun. I don't prefer to get this crap all over me if I don't have to. I know that's not the manly way to do it, but you know, if I can avoid it, I'd rather not. I got a wife and a toddler, and I don't like taking showers with Dawn dish soap, although I've done it many a time. Did it last night, so I'm not above it. By the way, that's a pro tip for you. You get really greasy and nasty out in the shop, just take the dish soap with you. There's your hygiene advice for the day. Got her oozing out there pretty good. Smear this on here like a bagel down at the deli, call it good. And I guess I could explain how you do this. I'm sure this is something that's been explained a million times by every other YouTube channel out there, but I just pack it in, smack it in, push it through till you see it coming up between the inner race and the cage here, and you're essentially done. Just do that all the way around, and that's about it. Okay, call that packed. Put a little smear on here, on our everything bearing. Good enough. And we got our bearing dropped in, seal cleaned up and put on there. Now, this is what I use for a seal driver in most cases, as long as it's flat, just a chunk of 2x4 and a BFH. And should be good. And we're good. Perfect. And I went ahead and cleaned our rotor up here with brake cleaner, try to get all that, whatever that oil they put on these and packaging to keep them from rusting while they're coming on the, you know, coming across the Pacific Ocean there on the old boat from China. So, you know, you don't want that on your pads. Yep, it feels right. It feels smooth. We shouldn't have to really do much preload on these since these are the original bearings. We didn't replace them, so they're pretty much worn in. I almost questioned myself there thinking, Raybestos, that's an American company, right? Didn't they used to like be like all over the side of your, you know, your stock car back in the 80s and stuff? Yeah, it says China right there on it. Sign of the times, I guess. Normally, I would say tighten that nut, kind of give it that feel. Spin it as you're tightening it to kind of get that grease all situated. And then wherever you land, back it off to the hole, to whatever it is. This one just happens to be right on it, which is it's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. Just don't crank the hell out of it. All right. I'll put the glob in here, just for good measure. Good enough. Went ahead and got our brake hose attached back to this bracket. Just did that on a vise. Figured that's easier than monkeying with it under here. So get this guy back in. And I currently have both calipers over in the paint booth curing. Went ahead and hit them with some brake cleaner and, you know, put a coat of paint on them for some reason. It's a lot of cast iron to just sit under here and rust. So go ahead and over torque this one. Okay. That's probably good, so let's give it a little more. Yeah, okay. Let's get that caliper out of the paint booth and get this on. Okay, that'll work. Yeah, there's the hernia, that'll work. Brake fitting, or our brake hose bolt, banjo bolt, and we will be, I think, done with this side. Okay, that's tight. All right, that's brakes. Pretty straightforward on this one. We didn't have any crazy issues. Bearings look good, seals look good, spindles look good, brake lines came apart okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get over to the other side, get that one knocked out. I'm not gonna film that one, same deal, rinse and repeat. And then we'll come back in a little bit and we'll work on the brakes on the top side. As you may know or may not know, I don't know that I've gotten to the exact specs on it, but the cam in this thing, it's big. It's about I think it's a 612 lift cam and around 246, 248 duration. So it's a big boy. And I kind of had a little bit of concerns about vacuum, running vacuum brakes, or at least running it consistently with that big of a cam. Might be okay, might not. But just so happens the company reached out to me, manualbrakes.com. They make a conversion kit for these S10s as well as a lot of other different GM vehicles, and I believe Ford Rangers as well, that will convert your factory power brake vehicle over to a manual brake setup, which will be a great advantage for us considering the situation we have and the purpose we want to use this truck for. So they sent me a kit and we are going to get this thing installed. I'll show you the process on how that all works. There's an adapter plate that takes the place of the booster on the firewall to mount the new master cylinder to the firewall, and there's some modifications on the brake pedal that has to be made for that as well. But overall, the kit looks to be a pretty straightforward deal, nothing too crazy from what I just kind of thumbed through the instructions. So we're going to work through it together. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. I got to crawl under here and fold myself up like a pretzel and see if I can't throw my back out again and try to get to these bolts on this brake booster here. Get this guy yanked out so that we can start the process of putting this kit in. Now this is the basis of the kit, and this is kind of what you get when you get the full kit. Now we specifically ordered this one for an S10 that's going to have the Explorer 8.8 rear end with disc brakes. So this master cylinder is tailored to that. This is a Chrysler style master cylinder. These are, you know, easily available at the parts store. So, and the instructions come with a long list of part numbers that will show you what to ask for, what to get in case you get in a bind, you get in a pickle, you need to pick up a new one, get a replacement. They're out there. This isn't like a crazy one-off off-the-shelf part you got to order from somewhere. You can get these locally. This is the block-off plate on the firewall. We'll have to make some modifications there for this guy to fit and to mount through here. This is just our new clevis pin, so this guy's gonna something like that and, you know, do clevisy things down on the pedal. So there's a little modification to be made on the pedal to press this pin in so that this guy rides on that. Plus your mounting hardware, spacers, your adapters. This is for the S10 specifically. To adapt to the factory brake lines from this master cylinder. So, and they've got a bunch of different kits. Like I said, I think they've got A body, B body, H body, X body, F body, some Corvette, S10s, C10s, Silverados, Canyons, Colorados, Rangers, Lions, Tigers, Bears, I think maybe too. No, pretty much most of the stuff that any of you guys out there are watching probably have. They probably got a kit for it or can get you set up with a setup for that. Just tell them what you've got front and back. If you've got completely stock setup, if you've got, you know, an 8.8 Explorer like we're planning on doing here in the S10, if you've got, you know, Willwood setup or even TBMs and some of the, you know, fancy pants drag racing stuff, they can help you out on that too. So that's what's basically in the kit. So let's get to work. Here's where we got to go to get our booster out. As you can see, it's those 4 bolts. There's a 2 on the bottom, and then that one guy up there, and then another one around there. So let me see if I can shoehorn myself in here and get those out. All right, I think I got everything loose. Let's see if this booster will come out here. Should be all loose. Thought I had it all loose. Yeah, there we go. Come on. 4 bolts on the back side here, so you got to get the nut off of those. Bottom 2 are easy, just with a long extension and a universal joint 15mm socket. Just knock those off quick. This one did the same setup, but I had to use a wrench on that one because my impact didn't quite have enough lead in its pencil to do that one. And up here I was able to just sneak up behind there with a ratchet and, you know, inch it off of there. Wasn't too bad. And then of course you just got a hairpin standard GM stuff here on that brake rod. The constructions did say this gasket's got to come off here on the firewall, so I'm gonna, well, I thought I might have to wire wheel it off, but most of it's gonna come off by hand. And then, well, I got this wire wheel loaded up. I'm not gonna waste it. Yeah, there we go. Right off of there. Little out around. All right, well that wasn't too bad. Let's go ahead and, you know, touch this up while we're in here. All right, let's give her a spritz here. Oh no, fisheye. Okay, all right. Firewall prepped. Okay, next step is we've got to take our aluminum block-off plate and get this to fit the firewall. The bottom 2 bolts are going to line up with the bottom 2 bolts for where the booster went, and then the top 2, they'll need a little bit of clearancing to fit here, and there's some other bolts that are going to thread through the back side of this. So I'm just going to kind of work this thing in here. And that's gonna look nice, give us a kind of a clean look under here. It's just like in school, you know, you just color inside the lines. That guy back off, we'll see what we did there. Looks like I see some marks. Take my glasses off, I can see better up close. Yeah, yep, there we go. Now we just need to clearance that. You can see it's not very much, it's just a little blip here on the side of both of those upper bolt holes. That's what we're after. And I think my weapon of choice for this just gonna be the old die grinder, and I've just got a carbide, you know, die grind bit on here. And let's see what we can do here. Okay, close. You don't want to get too carried away and take out too much material here, so I'm going to stop there and do a test fit on it here in a minute. It seems to be coming around. Let's try that and just see kind of where we land. Put some fingerprints all over my new paint. Dang it. All right. Come on, get in there. And a little more down on that one. Same story on this one. Basically straight down more or less. There goes the breaker. Should be good there. And I'm trying not to get too carried away here. Okay, yeah, that looks good. I think we're good there. I think now we got the plate in place here now, I'm gonna go back inside and put the long bolts. What they do is, I'll show you, grab a couple here. These upper holes are threaded in this plate, so you'll have these bolts. They will essentially come through the back of this plate this way, like that, thread through, and that's what your master cylinder is going to mount to, right? But this is going to go through the firewall, sandwich that tight, and then through this, and then thread into here. So it's going to be a, you know, two-prong approach. It's going to hold this plate tight up against the firewall this way, and it's going to give the master cylinder something to grab to this way. So I'm going to go underneath there and see if I can get these guys started into this, and we'll start to tighten this setup down. And then we'll get that pedal pulled out, and then we'll get that adjusted and get that pin pressed in it. That way it'll work with this setup. Here's a little bit of a tech tip for you. I found out is once you get these bolts started, once you got enough on there, you can just come to the outside and grab them and turn them, because they're long bolts. They're 60 millimeters, so you're going to be there a minute if you're under the dash. And hey, if you can do this from out here and not be under the dash as long, might as well, right? So just keep on cranking. Got the brake pedal out of it. That wasn't too bad. Just 18 millimeter, one on each end. I use this deep socket with an extension on one side and just a ratchet with a socket on the other. All right, so you got to press this thing in. There's a top hole conveniently located in the factory brake pedal, which is kind of nice. I mean, makes sense. It's up higher. That's you know, manual brake, give you more leverage the higher you put the pin on here. So I'm assuming that's why, although I don't know if these ever had a factory manual brake setup. Maybe they did, I don't know. But anyways, the constructions here say to put this at about 7 o'clock position so that you can access the cotter pin easily when you have it in the truck. The factory one is pretty much just straight in as you're, you know, looking at it. So I guess that'd be what, the 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock kind of conundrum. But it's also a little bit lower, and there's kind of some stuff up higher that it's harder to get to this one if you don't have this clocked right. So I'm assuming that's what we're doing here. It says you got to press it in, so I'm going to get a big hammer and press it in. I'll use the vise here and see if I can set up a little pounding station here. Might want to take that out before you do that. Okay. Yeah, it's going. There it is. There's what you're going for. Mark that way, pedal pad this way. Mine is the opposite, but it's because you're looking at the pedal opposite. But there you go. We've got enough room to clear that pin. It should be able to get in from the bottom there. Pressed in all the way. So not too bad. Tight fit. Kind of once it knocks the rust and the junk out of the hole on these things, it went right in. So let me get this back in, and we'll proceed after that to figuring out how we set up our clevis and our push rod here. Looks pretty straightforward though. Alrighty, we got the brake pedal installed again. Everything went fine. It's a little bit of a bear to get it back up in there, especially when you're upside down under the dash, but it's not too bad. You just kind of got to fish around in there and get the bolt lined up in the hole. Worst thing about it was I got some fingerprints in my paint. A little bit impatient there. Your push rod comes assembled with the clevis and the jam nut on the end of it. What you want to do, take those off so you can feed this guy through the hole. And then we're going to go around the bottom side, run this back up on the rod all the way down, and then slip this up over our clevis and put our pin in it to hold that in place. And then we're going to leave everything loose here. That way when we get to the end, we get everything ready to go. Then I can adjust this, turn that rod, and adjust the pedal height if I want to get it up closer to me, or just leave it as it is. So I'm going to crawl underneath and get this done right now. We'll be back, and after that we'll need to bleed the master cylinder and then get the master cylinder bolted onto the firewall. And other than that, that should be pretty much this kit, and it's a matter of just getting the brake lines on and bleeding the brake system. And you can see why right there it's important to get the orientation correct on the clevis pin right here. That was real easy to just pop in, but I could see where if you got that in the wrong spot, it would definitely be more of a challenge. Yeah, I guess we'll see if we can get this master cylinder bled. This is I guess it's a Chrysler style, looks like. I think that's what the instructions said. So there's several different, you know, variations of this depending on what size kit you get, what bore size you get for what brakes you need, what requirements your brakes need. And the website outlines those pretty clearly, so just, you know, if you order one of these kits for manual brakes, then just look on there. And it comes with like I said, it comes with a full sheet, that long pour, that has all kinds of part numbers and all kinds of information in case you need to find another one, and what to search for too. So, or at least what to tell the high school kid behind the counter to look for. But as you know as well as I do, if you rely on telling that high school kid how to find it, good luck. You're better off doing your own research. And these guys have already done it for you. I promise this is a tool specifically made for this. It is not a Phillips screwdriver. And we're just going to kind of gently work this guy here. Let's see if she firms up. I'm used to using the little hoses that, you know, circulate back in. But this one says, their instructions say it, and the ones on the package with the master say to use these plugs and do it this way. So we'll do it this way. We'll let it think about what it's done here. Well, this is going to take me a few minutes, so I'll go ahead and do this, and we'll be back here in a little bit when I'm done. I'm getting maybe an 1/8 inch or 3/16 or so there. So I think we got it. So we'll wrap this thing up tomorrow, get this thing on, and have some brakes. Well, good morning. Welcome back. We are getting close to wrapping up the manualbrakes.com kit here on our S10. I went through this morning and just gave it another, you know, pump or two on the bench bleeding. Got, you know, everything out of it I think I can get out of it. It feels pretty firm now, just very little movement. And I just left the plugs in it, tighten everything up here, and we should be good to go. The only other thing really there is slide this over the studs, and there's some spacers that come with the kit that take up the gap between the mounting flange and the plate on the firewall, and that's it. Comes with the flange nuts, so we are almost done here. And then I'm gonna find the proportioning valve, I think it's in the bed, and rig that up, start getting our brake lines connected back, and then before too long we'll be ready to start bleeding this thing and see what we got. Now the back's gonna be a bit of a crapshoot, like I said, since we're not doing the rear brakes right now. Basically, we're just doing this to see if we can get it to run and drive and move it around, kind of check a few things. We're gonna be doing that 8.8 swap sooner rather than later, I think. I just ordered a few more parts for that, so we're close there. So, you know, there's no need to get too carried away back there because we're gonna be making that swap. Putting the proportioning valve in the bracket on, there's one more step we are gonna need to do. I forgot, this bracket needs to bolt between the nuts and the master cylinder, so I'm just gonna take those off and put that on. And it looks like the tubes are gonna line up really good with this master cylinder, pretty much straight across from the ports. Just make sure when you do this kit, they come with the adapter fittings. The nuts on these S10s, they look pretty much like the same thread size, but the tubes are different sizes for the front and rear, so the flares are different. So make sure you've got, when you put these in, because they'll screw in either way, make sure you've got them in the right orientation on your master cylinder, or you get to do it twice. As far as the proportioning valve goes, I don't hear of anybody ever swapping these to a different style proportioning valve when they're doing a 8.8 rear swap, so we'll see how it works. I suppose if we have to, we can buy a disc prop valve. Should be the same, they're pretty much all the same, but in my experience, those aftermarket ones, I've been through multiple, and it's 50-50 on if they work or not. I've had one of them hang in the front brakes, one hang in the rear brakes. So if you can use your factory one, use it. It's gonna be better than what you can get nowadays. So let's go ahead and do this, get this on there. Oh, one other adjustment. These holes, right, these fit the firewall and the old setup the way we had it. So since this is slightly narrower, when we had to grind those holes out to fit those studs, which is to fit the new master, we're gonna have to do the same thing here. So I'm gonna get my, my die grinder out again with carbide cutter and just cut a little bit on the inside of these brackets here. And that'll allow this to slip over those studs and be no big deal. Just getting these lines installed. The fittings went right in, no problem there. I got the bracket attached back here to the master cylinder, to the firewall where we wallered those holes out. I think wallered is the word. Anyways, these are tight. I got to tighten the top and bottom ones here. Kind of the strategy I employed was to get the brake lines off the truck into the proportioning valve while it was easy, while this was all kind of just flopping around. And then put the fittings in the master, and then I pushed it back, lined these up so I could kind of tweak these where they needed to go, and they were very, very close. I mean, it took next to nothing to get these lined up perfect with this Chrysler style master cylinder. And then it's a matter of bolting the proportioning valve back to the bracket, which I figured that should be the easiest part. And it looks to me like it is almost dead nuts on the money. Yep, there's one. And can we get two? Go for dose. There we go. And these are a 13. Lines are 9/16. At least that's what I used. And then you just do this for a few minutes. And tight. Hey-oh, just saw a leak. Where'd I see a leak from? Got our first leak. This would be the wise time to go ahead, as this is gravity bleeding itself, to look for leaks, since all this has been apart and somewhat nasty, sitting, open air. I did blow all this out with air. Definitely got a leak on the back one. Probably would help if you tighten the fitting there, dum-dum. 60% of the time, that'll get you every time. That was a hell of a movie, wasn't it? The Anchorman. Okay, did I tighten this one? We'll see. Nope, that one wasn't tight either. Okay. Yep. Okay, I guess the next step is to start bleeding this bad boy. If you see me breed, I'm not breeding any brakes today. If you've seen me bleed brakes before, you know I'm a fan of the vacuum bleeder thing I got at Harbor Freight. Works pretty good for one person, and it seems to, I've never had a problem with. The only time I've ever had to go back and redo one, I'll have to do it on this one because I just said that, but the only time I've ever had to go back and redo one was when I had to change a proportioning valve on my brown truck because the Chinese proportioning valve was bad, and I didn't cap the lines coming out of the master, and it drained all the fluid out of it, and I had to take the master back off and bench bleed it. But other than that, I've had no problems with them, and they work great. I'm gonna go ahead and start cracking some bleeders, maybe let this thing gravity bleed. Yeah, it hadn't really moved much here. And we'll be back in just a little bit, and we're one step closer to getting this thing hopefully roadworthy. Cross your fingers for that $100 or $250 transmission. First sign of fluid on this side, we're dripping. Yep. We already got fluid here, so I'll go ahead and, well, I'll go ahead and tighten that guy up, just finger tight for now. And there's the right front. That took no time at all. And it's already gravity bled. And here's a look at the rear brakes, and partly why I decided to just go ahead and do the 8.8 now. As you can see, the shoes are absolutely shot all the way down to the backing plates. You're gonna need pretty much everything, and I think I showed you before, the drums look just as bad, so. It's not going too great on the rear. Tried to use the vacuum bleeder. I'm getting no fluid through there, so I'm thinking the brake hose is probably collapsed in the rear because we're just not able to get any fluid past it, or something's plugged up. Well, I'm not seeing any fluid out of the tube for the vacuum bleeder, but I can see the drum moving, like aligning itself, and I'm pushing on the pedal, and I got a little bit more pedal, so something's going on. Let's go ahead and try to do the other side and see if we can get a little something there, and then maybe go to the fronts and just see if we can get a better pedal feel. This may never get great with this situation in the back, so we'll just kind of have to play it by ear and see what happens. No luck there either on the right side. I'm thinking what we probably have is we've got a lot of air in the line between the master cylinder and the brake hose. And if the brake hose is stopped up, we just don't have enough fluid because we can't drain anything past the brake hose to put enough pressure to push that air out if the lines collapse. So I'm thinking we're just pushing air in this middle line because it can't flow out. And we might have just had a little bit of fluid in this line back here left over. So I think I'm gonna have to replace that rear brake hose, try this again, and see if that works. Okay, so the bad brake hose theory does not apply. It's obviously just gravity bleeding out of it by itself as we speak. So let's see if we can blow some air into the wheel cylinders and crack those bleeders and see what happens there. Huh. Might have to take the bleeder out altogether. I can see the brake working, but I don't see any fluid coming out. I have plugged up bleeders. Yeah, there's fluid right there now. Okay. Oh yeah. I think the bleeders are just plugged up. Looks to me like there's just a bunch of dirt and stuff in the hole on the bleeder. Now let's try it. I bet you that was our problem. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We got fluid. Okay. That one's plugged. Let's try the other side here. Sorry about these awesome camera angles, you know. You just do what you do. We don't quite have the production value up there yet. I'm working on it. I mean, I bought a GoPro. I don't use it, but I bought it. I stick it on the windshield for stuff. Put a little air to it here. Yep, nothing. Bleeders are plugged, I think. That would have been probably an easy test I could have just done to begin with. Why would you do that? That's not any fun, you know? Let's work through the whole diagnostic process. Who wants to just jump straight to the conclusion? Yeah, there we go. We already got fluid coming out of it. I got plugged up bleeders. Okay. I did take a torch cleaning tip and jam down in the end of it. You can't see that. Jam down in the end of it. But, you know, doesn't really do any good because the hole's all the way down at the bottom. Anyways, put a rag over this because I don't want to make any more of a mess than I have to. Yeah. That is some very nasty fluid, so that's probably a good call on going ahead and blowing that out anyway. So we should more or less have pretty clean brake fluid in the system now once this is all done. But I'm looking at these, and these are definitely plugged up. Nope. That's gross. Nope. It's terrible. That's our problem. Okay. Let's see if we can get out the old torch tip cleaner kit, and maybe, just maybe, I can get something jammed down in here. Now let's see what we got. There we go. Did I get you? Okay. Yeah, it's just dirt down in there. She plumb filled up. That's the problem. Didn't really budget hour plus of my day to this, so we're running behind as usual. I think we're good. I barely even got the brake line hooked back up, and there you go. They're already gravity bleeding. This side's gravity bled. This side's dripping too, gravity bled. So I don't know. This might make short work of this bleeding yet. Hey, that worked. That one worked. We got good flow out of both. We got a better pedal. Still not perfect, but it's better. We got to do the front still. And on the rear, you can't put a wrench and the vacuum bleeder simultaneously on it because it's kind of countersunk down up in the wheel cylinder. So you have to use a socket. Well, when you use a socket, you can't use a vacuum bleeder at the same time. Basically what I'm trying to say is you can't have the vacuum bleeder running and then just shut it off. So you have to turn the vacuum bleeder off, pull it off, and then shut it. So you probably get a little bit of air back in the line doing that. So I'll see how this works. If it's good enough for now, we'll just run it like it is. If not, I'll have to have my lovely assistant, my wife, again, come out and push on the pedal here later on tonight. And I'll just bleed those one more time the old-fashioned way. So let's do the front and then try it again. Let's go ahead and try this right front here. And the generally accepted method of bleeding brakes is furthest away from the master cylinder to the closest. So I start on the right rear, then I do the left rear, then I do the right front, then I do the left front. I don't know that it matters, but that's what they say. And if they say it, you should probably do it. And as important as that is, I've learned one more thing that's much more important than that in this process, and that's when you're dealing with this brake fluid, it's very vital that you don't get it on your camera anywhere because it'll pull the coating and the paint and the whatever this protective film right off your expensive camera. So, yeah, just remember that. Okay, attempt number 2 where I can actually get the wrench where I can turn it. And whoop. There we go, starting to flow. Looks like a pretty good flow. I don't really see any bubbles or anything, so we'll go ahead and shut it off. One thing to note too on these vacuum bleeders is if you're going to use one of these, you're going to use more brake fluid than if you were just doing it, manually, because you're kind of watching that suction through there. So you're ending up with a lot of it in the reservoir here. Great way to flush the system, but you're definitely going to use more fluid. If anything, be sure you stay on top of keeping the master cylinder full. Don't let it run dry. They make an attachment that like clips onto the top of this and has a reservoir. You can just fill it and it'll gravity sort of level itself out. I don't use it because it's one more thing to set up and take apart and clean and all that. So I haven't been showing it, but I bet I've topped this thing off 5 or 6 times messing with this. Do a wheel, come back and check it. Do a wheel, come back and check it. Keep topping it off. Whew, I think that's going to do it for brakes for now, at least until we get the 8.8 and swap it in. Wasn't too bad. We had problems, of course, when you're working with junk, you're going to have problems with it. That was the biggest headache we had, was those bleeders. The fronts went together pretty good with all the new parts. The manualbrakes.com, the Brake Force Max kit, that went in pretty easily. Like you saw, just you had to, trim out those holes a little bit with your Dremel tool or whatever you got. Not too bad. Pull the pedal out, press the pin in. If you're interested in one of those, hit those guys up. It's just manualbrakes.com. David over there reached out to me, sent me that kit. So thanks, David. I appreciate that. And like I said, we'll hold judgment on it, how well it works, until I get it out on the road and kind of get it in its intended environment with 8.8. We did go up a size on the piston, on the bore size on the master cylinder to run that rear disc setup. So I don't know, it might be a little aggressive for this, stock rear end. Plus it's got completely worn out shoes. Pulled here, been letting this go for a while. I think we got our leak fixed. I think it might have been this guy last time. I took it apart, cleaned it up, put it back. Seems to be holding now. So, and again, this isn't absolutely necessary. I just find these LS is kind of hard to get all the air out of. This typically takes the guesswork out of it. It's just going to suck the coolant right out of it pump it right into the system, and hopefully we'll have basically a purge system. Well, we got coolant in it. I think we're down with needing to top off the transmission fluid. A couple other little things, tail lights, got to put those back in. We might want to put the hood on it, a couple things maybe before we drive it around. So let's go ahead. I guess it's time. Let's fire it up. I think it's this is the first time since I got the exhaust done. I haven't even started it. There we go. Good oil pressure. We're 45 PSI. We're charging. We're at 14. There we go. She might idle now. Good so far. Temp is coming up quick, so we'll see what that does. Idling about 1300. Yeah, she's gonna be a high idler. Okay, let's see if our fans come on here. Yeah, there's our fans. Fans are on. Definitely feel that. All right, we got to get some transmission fluid in this thing. Thermostat hasn't opened yet. $13.9. Right at 14, 13.9. Let's go there. Got it open. Yep. Let's see if our transmission works. Dummy. I think we created a monster. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get the front end put back together on this thing. Maybe we'll have a shot of not getting pulled over. It's already loud enough and noisy enough and obnoxious enough. We probably will, but let's at least kind of make it look like a truck, a little less conspicuous. So I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. But I went ahead yesterday and didn't film it, but I went ahead yesterday and got her hood painted up. So she's all good to go. Painted on the bottom side. Looks mighty nice. I still need to get some JB weld, and I don't have any of that kind of, I don't know, I might have some liquid nails in there. We'll see. Still got her big whammo in the hood. That's okay. There is some access to the back side if I get buck nasty and want to fix it. Yeah, we'll see. But let's get it on for now. Starting to come around, starting to look like a truck. No, lift with the knees, not the back. Or wait, does it lift with the back? I'm not sure. Lift with something. Probably not whatever I just lifted with. Stay, sit, Ubu, sit. Okay, this is gonna be harder than it looks, isn't it? Whoa, hey-oh. There you go, put your head into it. You can do it, put your head into it. Come on, get started. There we go. Why didn't I paint the bolt head? Dummy, let that happen. Ha, there we go. Look at that. That actually looks restored. Shit. This is supposed to be a budget build. This son of a bitch gonna win car shows. I was just at a car show not that long ago with my C10, my brown truck, and they had a S10 class. $100 first place awards for that, for every class. And this thing would have won. They only had one S10. This one's nicer than that one, easily. I'd have won $200 that day, huh? Now my strategy here is just to put it right back where it was. Seems like a good one to me. Will it fit? Stay tuned. The real question is, can I get it open? Before, you couldn't get it open. I had to take a punch in here and pop this wire to get it loose. I put a zip tie on the hood release cable because that's, you know, that's how you fix hood release cables. And I'm hoping that that'll take up the slop here. Maybe that'll work. I think I just got a stretched cable, maybe. Ooh, that's gonna be close. That's on the money. On the money, dude. Yep, that's on the money. Will it shut? Come on, baby. Ah, I have to learn that one. It shut. Probably just took off my air cleaner, but it shuts. Hell yeah. Look at this little rig coming together. I like this truck. I might drive this daily. I might get rid of my Silverado. I might keep them overload springs. Keep this guy. Put a trailer hitch on it. It's probably not a good idea, but you can dream though. We can dream. Hell yeah. How's it look on camera? Does it look good? All right, let's get the bumper and the front filler put on. Okay, good news. I found some bolts, I think, in our goat milk formula cans. Bad news, they're kind of crusty, but they'll work. I just gotta, you know, I just gotta deal with it. It's not a restoration. It's not. Is that supposed to have a washer? Yeah. Not today, it doesn't. The gap's good, nail it. Well, that's easy enough. There we go. Yeah, we're cooking. There we go. Not too bad. Let's see if we can get the bumper on it. Get out the body hammer here. Perfect. And I think we might have had one on the top straighten out too. Little ding here on the corner. Not going to really worry about that unless it doesn't fit right. All right. I think that's on. This is kind of ripped out here. We're going to have to... Well, we're gonna have to self-tapper it to the fender. That's what we're gonna have to do. I guess now we just gotta figure out how to get this thing on here. Oh, yeah, here's our other bit of body work we gotta do right here. A little hammer and dolly work. Actually do need a dolly for that. Oopsie. All right, fine. We'll bring out the big tools. Okay, perfect. Well, I think it's time we go ahead and see if we can get this S10 out on the road. I think I've tied up all the loose ends, at least enough to give it a first drive. Now, don't expect anything too crazy. I do live in the city here, and these cops would love nothing more than to give me a ticket for a ratty-ass old S10 with an LS in it. Front end is on it. We left off before. I didn't have the bumper on it, but I had the front clip all on. Man, it looks good. The reason I didn't film that is because I ended up having to take the filler panel, the grill, the headlamp bezels, all that crap back off just to get the bumper on because you can't access the bumper bolts with all that on. So anyways, I got to redo that, and now I know very well how the front end goes together on these. But we'll do a quick tour here on the old rig. I got the wheels back on it, and I got the hubcaps on it. She looks kind of sporty. She does have a bit of a monster truck stance there, especially in the back. That'll get addressed in a future video coming up very soon. But it looks good. It looks good overall. I kind of dig on it. This is not quite the final combo on the wheels and tires yet. but it's kind of what we got right now that'll roll and it'll hold air. All right, let's see what we can do, see if we can get this thing out on the road, and hopefully it'll go through the gears, brakes work, everything. So we're just kind of shake it down. Let's not get too crazy with it, but here we go. Wish me luck. All right, let's see if she wants to light off this morning. temps are okay. We're up to about 200 there. Coming out of the house. That's what I thought. And that's why we're not getting too carried away today. It's also the day before Thanksgiving and everybody's off work and they're at home. So, oil pressure's good. We're still over 40. We're at 210 on the temps, but this is also the coolant temp sensor is on the left front head, which is the one that is going to be the hottest. So that's going to be the hottest place in the cooling system, which is okay. All right, let's see if we can get her back home. Well, that was a fun one. I think we had a successful first drive here with the S10. We got a few things to work out. We got a little bit of a dead spot there in the carburetor. You know, it's not optimal. Coolant temp is hot. It got up to 230 on the gauge, but it's not. You can tell. You can grab the radiator hoses and tell it's not that hot. But the coolant temp sensor is in the left front most port on the head, and that is going to be the hottest one. I'm not too worried about that. Didn't push any water or anything like that, so we'll work through it. Oh, it's got this, I don't know if you can see this on the ground or not, this floor dry, but the transmission has a bit of a like self-leveling fluid feature. So it's kind of done that here. It's that, you know, that dipstick that I had a feeling would do that. So, but yeah, I mean, it went good. Sorry, no burnouts. I don't know if you'll probably see it on the footage when I edit this thing, but very residential around here, very much in the city, very much people coming out looking, very much I don't want a ticket. So we'll do that some other time. We'll get it out in the country or get it to the track. I'm sorry. We'll get it to Mexico or get it to the track, and we'll do that. So, but anyways, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it. This S10 has been a blast for me to build. I'm not done yet, so don't go anywhere yet. We've got a couple more episodes on this one. Up next, we'll get into the 8.8 swap. We've got some chow tracks, Chinese cow tracks. I don't know what you want to call them, but we got that. So we'll have a whole episode on that ideally here soon. And I'd like to clean this thing up. Like I said, it hasn't even been washed. We haven't even done anything with it. I haven't touched it. I rolled it in here, started working on it, and it's as filthy now as it was when I got it off the trailer. So we'll go through, clean it up, hit it with the buffer, put all the used car lot special on it, and we'll see what it turns out like. It might be a clean little truck when it's done. Wheels and tires, not done there either. We've got something special for that, but I can't do that till we get the rear end swap, different bolt patterns, all that. So anyways, thanks very much. If you don't mind, do the like, do the subscribe. That stuff means a lot. YouTube likes it when you do these things. They especially like the subscribe one. It's something about channel authority. I don't know. Anyways, it makes them think I'm some big shot, so they'll give me more, push it out there to the old Ethernet and let people watch my stuff. So, oh, hype's a new thing. I have no clue what it means. Just if you see it on there, just do it. I don't know. Thanks to manualbrakes.com for the brake kit. I appreciate that very much. If you guys have a GM car, Ford Ranger, anything else they can probably help you out with, they do kind of do some custom stuff. Hit those guys up, manualbrakes.com. David over there has been great to work with. So seems to be a good kit so far. Works fine. We'll know more when we get that 8.8 in here. So anyways, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.